Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we are talking about the future of ESO. ZeniMax Online Studios have released their ESO Direct for 2025, announcing all the changes, plans, and intentions shaping the direction for the future of the game. After having a little hands-on look-see and getting some early access info, I've had a chance to digest it all and put my thoughts into words for you guys. So we'll go over all the things in the Direct with a breakdown and some information that I have for clarity, and then at the end, I'll give my thoughts on it all. After a walk down memory lane, they have a recap of Cyrodiil Champions, a recent PvP test they did. They go over the results of the test they found briefly and explain what was special about the test itself. In short, the test went well and they have some good data to look into and aim for the next steps. What that is, I don't know yet, but to me, this insinuates an acknowledgement that Cyrodiil isn't performing where they'd like and lets me know that they still have intentions of improving it. They then talk about the new or returning player experience. This includes a welcome back feature that will, in my mind, basically be a recap of your experience on ESO. Helping you either pick up where you left off or at least give you your bearings and let you know what's changed. As it reintroduces you, it's supposed to reward you with some stuff as well, which is super cool. In 2025, ESO has shaken things up with the launch of what they are calling Seasons of the Wormcold. This is supposed to be a transition from chapters. It's this year's story and in essence is a sequel to the game's original base game story, and personally, one of my favorite storylines in the game. Now, beginning in June, I don't want to spoil too much about the story itself, so I'll give you the basic gist of things. The Wormcold is back with a new leader called Wormblood. They are doing some shady things in a new Caribbean island called Solstice, just south of Murkmire, with the main town being called Sunport. There will be a bunch of returning characters we've got to know over the last 10 years, including Razabdar, Gabrielle, Scordo, and so many more. But the rest I'll leave to you to discover as to avoid spoilers. This is expected to cost $49.99 USD, aka 2 single free range eggs, or if you're like me, it will cost around 85 Australian dollars or the equivalency of 1 roll of toilet paper. For the other currencies, it's best to just Google the $50 USD conversion and go from there. Now, new zone, new story, aiming for June. Iffy, how is this any different from chapters and what does this mean for ESO Plus? In short, things or features will be released over the year instead of all at once, hence seasons. It includes the dungeons, in-game events, trials, and zones. The only real change is that dungeons are now included with the content pass as permanent additions to your account, whereas ESO Plus will remain temporary access to those dungeons. This, I guess, means that ESO Plus essentially loses a little value if you're getting both. However, there's still a ton of awesome features included in Plus, so I guess you'll have to decide if it's worth it to you. I would love to see them add something like a furniture bag similar to the craft bag, or even a treasure map bag or something just to help ease that transition. So next up after the story is the new trial, Ossein Cage. A Cold Harbor themed trial, housing a Daedric relic that feeds on pain and suffering, which honestly sounds so cool. Our goal is to get in and destroy the relic. There was a mention of new rewards for the trial, and I'm sure we're all keen to see what they are. They also said the team is trying new things, and honestly, we've seen Finn and his team smash these trials every year, with crazy visuals and awesome mechanics. I personally am hoping for more environmental mechanics. I find them super fun. On a side note for the trial, if you're wanting to get back into it but nervous or unsure what to do, etc., I run a community trials group with the devs every week. It's a no expectations soft teaching group open to the public. This can allow you to jump in with creators and devs and learn in a low pressure environment where the goal is to have fun. I'll leave a link to the Discord in the description below. Now that's out of the way, let's talk about the huge bombshell they dropped, subclassing. So in a nutshell, what is subclassing? It basically means you can add other classes to your current character, i.e. if you're a Dragon Knight, you could opt to swap one of your skill lines, like maybe you don't want Draconic Power skill line, but you'd really like to be able to go invisible, so you could replace it with the Shadow line from the Nightblade, or maybe you'd like the Storm Calling from a Sork. Now, I will give my thoughts on this at the end, but for now, let's talk about some things we do know about it. Subclassing is expected in June, and it unlocks at level 50. It's account-wide for subclassed abilities, But if you have not played an alt, then there are ways to unlock these skill lines and level them as well. Subclassing will work with the armory system. Experience gained on those skill lines will not be retroactive, meaning that you may have the skills unlocked, but you may need to re-level the individual skills. Now, the best way to think of this is the original class you make your character will be your primary class. Now, why is this important? Because you'll have to keep at least one of your primary class skill lines. You cannot pull 2 lines from the same subclass. However, you can have 2 skill lines from your primary class as well as a subclass, if that makes sense. This translates to 1 primary, like an Arcanist for example, being the primary, plus a subclass like a Templar, and another subclass like a Necro. Or 2 primary from the Arcanist, and then 1 subclass from the Templar. I hope this makes sense. More on why the primary class is important is your class sets and class mastery scripts will be applicable to your primary class. So if you made a Warden, you would need to use those class things. You couldn't use the ones from a subclass you've chosen. The passives associated with the subclasses you have chosen will come along with the skill line. Yep, this means you can have Rapid Rot from a Necro while arc beaming. So that's what I know so far about it. I can tell you I've seen this in action and it's unbelievable. Following the subclassing, the next thing that was pretty epic was the world event. Expected in late summer, a giant wall made of souls will split the new island in half, and the entire server needs to chip in together to beat it. This is continuing the story of the Worm Cult and will be a limited event. You will not need to have the content pass to participate in contributing activities outside of Solstice. There will always be ways that you can participate without it. If the players are successful, it will change the world around them, and if they are not, however, and it fails, then that's it, right? I expect it to be a success on all servers though, and would say that who gets through first will be the super interesting bit. In Q4, we head to Eastern Solstice to finish the main story. Again, I don't want to spoil anything story-wise, so I'll just say at this point, it's building up to a climatic final battle, and I'm super excited to see how this ends. So, to summarize, no more chapters. Q1 Dungeon Pack is already out. In June, we will expect Seasons of the Worm Cult, including the Zone, the Story to Begin, Subclassing, and the Trial. In Q3, we can expect a server-wide event called the Writhing Wall event, which is, and I quote, world-changing. Also in Q3, we will have another Dungeon Pack. And then finally, Q4 will have a Zone expansion and the story finale. That's quite a lot of content. So with it all covered, let's get into my thoughts on all of this. First, I like the idea of seasons. Blurring deadlines today is a good thing to me, and that's what I see this as. Taking a specific date off the board and adding a rough expectation, I'd rather them make sure it's in the best state before release over just rushing to try and get it out on time. Take the time they need to make something incredible. I think what they are trying to do or say also is to be or express yourself however you like, starting to take away the limitations to allow you to experiment. To me, it says you only need one character really, because now on that one character, you can do it all. At the end of the day, I've always said to me, ESO at its core is an open world RPG with some incredible storytelling and literal thousands of hours of content, making it a journey. And in any journey, you become attached to things or characters. And this allows you to keep that and still explore things. To me, that's a very important thing. You as a player will create the identity of your character instead of it being identified by its class. It's huge. You're watching Lord of the Rings and you want to make Gandalf the Grey, wielding light, storm, and a two-handed sword. You can. If you want to be a vampire that disappears but then have dragon wings, you can. You get to create something for you. Are all the old builds irrelevant now? No, you can still play 3 lines of a class if that's what you like. This is just adding variety to the possibility of things. Now look, how this affects PvP and endgame PvE, I don't know. The sweats will do what the sweats do, seek the best and stack it. But to be honest, this is only going to be applicable to things like, super sweaty trifectas or score pushing. Outside of that, you're going to be flying past anything, so have fun, whack wacky things on your builds and see what you like. Try to create something that's for you. Overall, I do truly believe this is a good choice for ESO as a whole. Who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe it's terrible. What do I know? I'm more excited for this than I have been for things in a long time. If you're a new or returning player to ESO, you're going to have a really incredible experience. And, let me know. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is a good move? And how do you think it will affect the game going forward? It's safe to say there's a ton happening this year, and I'm super excited to see how it all pans out. As always, thank you to our members. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. I hope it caught you all up to date, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.